Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. We're looking at the connecting with the conversations in the Quran, and we're looking at a series around Musa alayhi salam's conversation with different people. So, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa ahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. So, I'm picking up on another. And I'm just trying to get to conversation. We should be knowing what the story of Musa alayhi salam is, what happened, how he grew up, and so on. And now I'm going to the conversation when he had to leave Egypt because he punched a guy by mistake, and he died. So now he's been told that he has to go. So while he's leaving, he turns his face towards the land of Madian, and he does read a prayer that he says, I do hope that my Lord will show me the smooth and straight path, that an yahdini sawa sabil, that Allah will guide me to the sawa sabil. So he arrives at a watering place in Madian, and he finds a group of men watering their flock. Maybe it's an oasis or wherever it is, at a watering their flock, and besides them he finds two women who are keeping back their flock. They're not letting their flock go to the water. So he says, so here's the conversation. So he says to them, and this is in ayah 23 again of Surah Al-Qasas. So he says, what's the matter with you? You know, and that's all. You know, it's like, and the beauty is how Quran captures it. What's the matter with you? He doesn't say, why aren't you going to water? What's going on? None of a long conversation. He just says, what's the matter with you? And they immediately said, we can't water our flocks until the shepherds are turned away. And also, before he can ask, well, then why don't you have a guy come to do this job with you? Why are you here? They immediately say, and our father is an old man. And so, no more conversation, and he waters a flock for them, and he turns his back, and now he says the dua again. He said the dua while he was facing Madian, while he was coming. Now he says, Rabbi, inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin faqir. Ya Rab, I am in desperate need of any good that you send to me. Anything. So, subhanallah, this is the beauty. So, the beauty of just in this interaction is that he's tired, he's exhausted. God knows from the distance from Egypt to Madian and how it is. And he says, Ya Allah, just send me anything good. He's probably hungry, he's probably whatever. So what happens next? He says one of the damsel comes back to him, walking, and this is also significant within tafsir literature, is astiya'a, that she walks bashfully. So that is also important, because one of them is coming back and she says, my father is inviting you that he may reward you for having watered our flock for him. Just sufficient what was needed is being said, no more, no less. So he comes back with him and he tells the father the story of and so the father says, oh, don't you fear now, you have escaped unjust people, qawm al-zalimin, referring to the Pharaoh, Egypt, and all of that. And so while this conversation is happening, wherever the girls are, next door, privately, behind a screen, none of that we are told. We're just told that one of the girls says, ahada huma, qalat ahada huma, one of the two. So from the huma we know it was two. She says, Ya abati. Again, look at, we've had this with Surah Yusuf, we've had this with Surah Ibrahim. Ya abati, oh my beloved father, my dear father, engage him on wages. Truly the best of men for you to employ is a man who is strong and trusty. This is what the daughter is saying. How many things do you get out of from there? Her good advice to the father. They're alone in the home, and so they need, so the attributes she puts out also is qawiyun amin, somebody strong and trusty, and from this experience we've gained that he is this strong and trusty. So just between this and then what the father says, it's like masses of things are going on, and this is the beauty of the Quran. You just understand. So what does the father say? The father says, I intend to wed you to one of my daughters. So what is it is that when the daughter suggests what she does to the father, it means the clever father understands what is possible. So a marriage proposal is given, accommodation is given, and a job is given. So just going back to what he said, Bima anzalta ilayya min khairin faqir, lima anzalta ilayya min khair. I am in need of a faqir to anything that you send down on me. So what does he do? He gets it on, and he says, I'll marry one of my daughters to you on condition you serve me for this much time. And if you do more, it's fine if you do. And so Musa alayhi salam said, yes, between the agreement is between you. I'll do the 8 years. If I can do more, alhamdulillah. If I can't, that's left open. So the beauty here also, he agrees, and this is in ayah 828, is that it's a non-binding clause. Yes, 8 years are understood. Anything and over and above, it's not cast in iron. So what is for me the take home, what we can look at even in our societies, whenever we're signing contracts, whether it's a worker, with something, do a baseline, but leave it open. Whether you're happy and I'm happy and we can go on for any work, whether you're doing an editing work or this work or online, well, let's just start with this bite-sized work, and then let's see if you're happy, if I'm happy, and we want to continue, then we keep it going. So that's what you also get from this 27 of all that the Father said. And again, the take home for me just from there is about, in the beginning, about that hayya when she's coming alone to fetch him. 2 didn't come back to fetch him, 1 came back to fetch him, and she walked with hayya. That hayya is so significant, and lots of in tafsir, if you go, you extrapolate. I'm looking at conversations, so I needn't go down into the tafsir of those things. But the beauty is that, bring it back to today, the straplessness in weddings. I mean, one day we are all in hijab, what a pious looking beautiful person, at the nikah, the women that are there at the masjid, because that seems to be in vogue now. So we're all beautifully pious, with decorum, attired, appropriate to the masjid. And next day, the same are how they are. I mean, it's just, Allah forgive us for where we are going. And the beauty is that you can understand, but it is that hadith which says, don't emulate the Nasara, don't emulate the kuffar. Where in our Muslim tradition have we had that we go around bareless, strapless, decked to the T and all of that? So, yes, there are those female desires of whatever they are, but come on, we can really take a step back and look at where are we going. And we attend all sorts of good dars and this and that, and then we go and we do this. It's like Allah knows best. Anyway, so to me the take home was from the hair, look at the hair we have today or we don't have. And in her observation of the daughter, of the qualities and wisdom reflecting the discernment to choose something, so she also has thinking capacity, decision-making capacity, suggesting capacity to the father, what should be done. And so those are the things that come us to the surface. And then so that happens, and then it goes on. That's all that there is in that conversation. But how much can we take home for ourselves of being able to have that ability and that conversation we can have with our father and be able to say that, suggest to him things, and the father being able to, oh, don't shut up, you girls, you don't know what you're talking about. No, not at all. So this is the beauty from the Quran that you get from these conversations, and so that's the end of that. And between the father, the daughters, and this. Now I'm just going to want to move on briefly to another passage when Moses, and this continues in 29, is when Moses completes a term and is traveling with his family. He perceives a fire. This is the pre-Nabuwa time, that incident that he sees a fire on Mount Tur, on Jabal Janib Ture. He sees a Nara, and he says to his family, stay here. I see a fire. I hope to bring from you some information or a burning brand that you may warm yourself. So just from this, for me, the take home of when Musa alayhi salam's with his family, he's in the middle of the desert, it's night, now maybe they're not sure where they're going, whatever it is. We don't have to get into that. It's just what he see. What is his conversation? He says, I hope to bring you back some information. So here he is with his family, it says, with his family, min ahlihi. And so what happens here is that before he goes up to the mountain, he tells them, this is what I've seen, maybe you haven't seen it, but I saw a flash there, so I'm going up there, is the beauty is him giving us. So it's looking at it for us when, you know, our men folk or something, they just walk out on you and you're like, where are they off to? Whether you're at the petrol station and they just, whether is it a friend they met and they've gone off or something. Have that courtesy to tell your women folk where you're going. It's in the adab of our faith that when you are leaving your ahlihi, in the home or wherever you are, you're traveling, even at the airport or something, and you move up for something because you've suddenly remembered this or that or whatever, have the courtesy to tell them. Minimum brief, and that's fine, but have that courtesy. And the beauty is that he assures his family to stay safe while they, and so on. So it reflects responsibility, and it reflects that his the protective nature to keep them safe before seeking help of resources or so on. And then for me, my take home from that is for myself in the first place and everybody, that we as females, as soon as our men folk tell us they're going here or they're going there or whatever, oh, what for? What did you do? What did you see? And you know, there's more questions coming forth. And what, for me, the learning has been that we as women also need to be appropriate. And if a man has had the courtesy to tell you where he's off to, whether it's your brother or your son or something, don't nag him to, but where are you going? And what did you see there? Why? What's happening? Have the courtesy to curtail this questioning and trust them and just say, fi amanillah, may they go safe and may they come back safely. So this jumping, and you know, this idea, it links with what today, everything's in bullet points. So in bullet points, refrain from endless conversations. Refrain from, okay, and your hubby comes home and he's telling you, if somebody's coming home, so Bismillah, I'll just put 4 more samosas or whatever I need to do. Bismillah. But oh, why? Who? Where did you see him? Da, 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 da. All that we go on and on engaging in. For me, the real big take home from this thing is when he tells him that he's like, it's enough for me to be able to tell, you know, my sons and my spouse and everybody else. He said, please give us that basic information. Where are you off to? We're sitting here waiting for 2 hours. We don't know. Have you gone on a gasht? Have you gone on somewhere else? What's going on? We don't know what's happening. So take from this conversation beautifully that this is the same wife he has who was forward enough to tell her father, was forward enough to go back to Musa alayhi salam, bring him home to the father, and then suggest to the father what to do. And presumably, we don't know for sure, but both of them were, daughters were out there, that she is brave enough to talk to her father, suggest to him. But here, as a wife and her husband tells her what he does, there's no more conversation about what she said. Maybe she did, but Allah chose not to have that reported in His Quran, in His timelessness of this beautiful Quran. That's what is significant He gives, and it's for us to extrapolate, look at the Mufassirs, what they have to say, this little piece on wives not going on and on nagging their hubby, and the hubbies also giving their wife enough information to sit back and relax and be comforted and have the tawakkul to Allah that yes, my hubby's gone and he'll come back. So subhanallah, and look at the beauty. I mean, that's another story for another time, and I'm not going into that, but about how I hope to bring you back some information or something to warm yourself. And what did he get instead? He got nabuwa. And what was that? And he got a big message to go and take, you know. So the there's no conversation, but I thought you were going to go get a brand of something to keep us warm. Subhanallah, all that is not there. And for us to engage in unnecessary things, unnecessary conversation is irrelevant. If Allah has chosen to give us this, be respectful of that, be mindful of that, and just take home this message of what we should be looking at and reading. So I just pray this has been a bit relevant as a take home for today of what we can do. Inshallah. So I just pray I will leave it there, and with that I will say may whatever has been said and heard be beneficial. So Subhana Rabbika Rabbil Izzati Amma Yasifun wa Salamun al Mursaleen walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.